So in a lot of witchcraft circles, you're gonna hear the term stang a lot. But what actually is a stang? Now this is a relatively well-known witchcraft book, and this stick in the middle that's effectively a wooden bident, that is a stang. Which may more than likely look something like this. It's effectively a wooden bident, although sometimes the actual, headpiece here will be made out of some kind of iron. Now, the term seems mostly hugely popularized by Cochrane's work. Now, Cochrane was someone who was very into the idea of traditional witchcraft, however, he was known for being somewhat imaginative about his version of it. But it's popularized through his work, so it's most often seen through the lens that he published. And effectively, it tends to most often be used either as a ritual piece in of itself, as in, effectively using it as a staff. The majority of the time, it seems to be used as more of a mobile altar, as in, it's obviously relatively easy to move, and it's for the purposes of being some kind of altar. A lot of the times, you're going to see it dressed up a bit, especially when it comes to the more Wiccan side of things or anything else that primarily is going to deal with archetypes, because it is said to represent the horned god. It is somewhat believed that Cochrane got this idea, and perhaps even terminology, primarily from basically associates of associates that it's not necessarily proven that he's worked with, however, were people that he was around and have published things about using such an implement. Effectively, the stang represents that the forks represent the spiritual world and the physical world, and then they go into one line, which is, the combination of those two things. The weird thing is that the word kind of doesn't seem to go that much further than Cochrane himself. Now, obviously, stang seems to be kind of this old-timey word of saying stung, like it's just another form of the word sting, which I guess can make some sense, as either, the horns of the sting could be used for such a thing. But primarily, I've only seen it in pre-Cochrane works as actually a form of punishment for crimes, in the sense that there is a term called riding the stang, which was effectively you were being chased by everyone else in your town out of it. And oftentimes, the people chasing the person would be carrying pitchforks, which can be used as a stang if needed. It's just interesting to me personally that this object that has, is its own staple in the traditional view of witchcraft, everything from its name seems to be incredibly new. Which again, isn't a bad thing. That just, to me, means that there either just needed to be a term for this, for it to be used in the sense of it's easier to talk about if you give it a name, or it may be a little bit of a misconception, who knows. So I generally just either use pitchforks or things that are just kind of natural stangs that are just found out in the woods, especially if I just need simple altars, because again, a lot of the times people will dress these things up, usually with a skull, some clothes. Oftentimes they'll put, a little circlet around it. It's a relatively easy way to make a makeshift altar without, especially if you're doing, something like a group event, it's relatively easy to just kind of dress up this thing and it be used for that purpose repeatedly, and obviously be able to move it if need be. I don't know, I just thought this was an interesting discussion to put my knowledge out there. Be free to put your knowledge, or perhaps even your uses of stangs in the comments. Thank you all for watching.